and welcome to Add More Zest. My name's Rebecca, also known as 4Kids at 147, and it is the time for the final sort out of my spares boxes. So I have picked up another photo box from Hobbycraft. Frankly, their selection was rather poor. There was a couple of floral ones that I liked, but then I felt like I'd have had to get more than one. So what I decided to do is, this is my box from my Heaven and Earth design, which I absolutely love. So I decided to actually get this sort of leopardy print one. It's got leopards on the bottom, but I was mainly going for the top of the box being similar, if not the same, as the bottom of this box. I thought, you know what, they'll look okay. So these are going to be the two boxes that I have my giveaway extra diamonds in, and I'm going to use my prettier boxes for my spares for dekitting. So what I have done, this one has already got extra spares in, but I did go and cut 3 pieces for the dividers for this box. These are 11 inches by 3.5 inches, I think. But I do have all the measurements on my website. I've not prettied them up in any way. I only had black foam board, so I stuck with black. This one's got black anyway. I've not done any of these end bits or anything like that because this isn't my super pretty boxes by any means. So I'm going to pop that one back on the shelf for now, and what I want to do is transfer, and I did get some money knocked off. This one, if you look, this side's fine. This one's sun bleached. This one's sun bleached according to that band. So basically it's obviously been sat in the shop for a long time. I did get a little bit of a discount for that reason, and I thought if I really end up not being happy with it, then what I will probably do is actually cover the 2 boxes that I've got. I'll cover them or I'll paint them so that they match in a different kind of way. So I thought the sun bleaching is going to make no difference. These are the ones that I'm currently in love with, but they don't do them anymore. So what I want to do, oh, this has actually got black as well. That's a shame. I was hoping that this would have white, so it will match for my squares, but it doesn't. And I don't have any white in, so I'm not fighting with that at the moment. I possibly could put sticker sheets over it to make it look white. I might do that in the future, but I haven't got any full sticker sheets, like full sheet sticker sheets in here with me, so I'd have to go and attack, should we say, some of my other sticker sheets and take strips off the side and stuff. And they're all currently in, of course, the shop space, because there are a couple of bits in the shop space that have moved over in our like magazine racks that possibly should go in this craft room, but it's those sort of final bitty bits. Does anybody find when you have a big sort out, and I mean like a big one, like us moving all the Add More Zest stuff in, that there ends up being little bits hanging around that either need to find a new home or need a new system set up or something. And they're the bits that I still haven't got round to like finalise sorting. Like my photo paper that I use for printing the photos for my logbook and stuff is stored in the shop area, but that actually works because the printer's in there. But then things like foam board is probably better being in here because I'm more likely to use it in the craft room. But having said that, when I cut the ones for this box, I used the big trimmer that was in the shop. So there is a little bit of crossover with stuff. But I've moved my giveaway, the rest of my giveaway diamonds over. So I'm going to pop that one on the shelf. I am going to have a look at my labels in a moment. The only ones that are currently labelled are my squares. But of course I'm spreading those into 4 boxes now. So I'm going to have to revamp that at some point. I've got the little added extras in this one. So let's see. So these spares boxes, the parts in this spares box are all neatly labelled over the top with stickers to sort of hide the imperfections of the foam board that you can see on the top. And I just haven't done it with these extras boxes, so I may have to get some white foam and do that. So I'm trying to think how I can get, so basically I want enough in here ideally for it to stand up. Did I take, no, I didn't take the bars out of this box. So I want it to be able to stand up, but I'm realising that I am moving over from 3 boxes to 4. So I am gonna have quite a bit of wiggle room, or like quite a bit of space to sort of spread these out onto. So let's try this. I can always reshuffle later. I ideally want them to be sort of round numbers as well when they move over. So if I've got 3 and 3 boxes, I need to be moving over roughly a strip from each box. Do I? Just a little bit less than a strip from each box. So let's see how we can make this one work. So if I do that there, that's got plenty of room to grow as I dekit more and more. So 3 7s go to there, and then 3 6s. Right, we'll move over 3 3s as well, because I know my next box is a lot fuller. So let's try that first for that one. I'm going to put my lids out of the way, and I am going to keep all the boxes sort of out. So I'm going to keep my 3000s in here, which is a small section of this. As I say, my next box I know is a lot fuller. And I have my divider cards that I ended up taking out from here. Where did I put them? Here they are. So I took out my end spacers, and I took out my bits that told me where each of the hundreds went, because they didn't fit. So on the basis of keeping numbers together, what I really want to do in this box is probably only move over my 800s and 900s and leave my 700s in there. That's still flowing. Oh, that's still flowing pretty freely. Let's see how we go. So I've still not hit the beginning of my 900s yet, because I did end up, say, spreading them all over. Put my little boards back in. So here's beginning of my 900s. So let's put my 900s board in. 800s, I've only got one here and the rest are in this row. So let's see if they'll all fit in one row and give me room to move. 800s. Oh, this is where I've got to try not to let them slide. Okay, so they will fit in. There is still movement in them. Probably more so in the 900s, but to be honest, that is okay because there is a lot of numbers in the 900s. What I may do is when I get some more white foam board, I may make some more of these as like stoppers for the back to keep everything bumped up a little bit, and then I can take them out as and when the rows need to grow. Okay, so my 700s, I don't think I'm going to get that in as well. So let's see how many of these I want to move over. Because my next box is quite free from memory, so I can get away with quite a bit more space. So 700s can go up to there. Let's see now when I grab my last box of squares, which is my 100s to 600s. So, well, actually it's fuller than what I thought. So let's move over my 600s. I'm wondering if I should move over my 500s. I suppose I should. Okay, so I think I am going to have to do some shuffling over a little bit, because I feel like I have filled, in turn, I have filled these boxes quite a bit more. These ones are fuller than these two are. So to allow for free movement. So, trying to think what's the best way to do it. So let's move my 300s over into one. So we've got 100s and 200s with absolutely bucket tons of room. 300s with bucket tons of room, and 400s with loads of room. Same with the 500s. 600s, 700s go into two. 800s are in one, but 900s go into two. I feel like I've got all my empty space up here, yet this is where I put all my diamonds. So I'm actually going to reshuffle a few things back now, because I used to put little pots in the back as like a stopper. Let's do that again. I have loads. I have loads of extra pots. So I'm going to do these until I can get fancy with the rest. But if I go for 3 pots in the back of each one, and move stuff over until they get to the same sort of line. Let's see how that works. This is the bit where, you know, you don't have a plan of exactly how I want it to go. I just know that I would like, preferably, for the numbers to be even And that's purely for labelling on the front of my boxes more than anything else. So I think we are going to have to move with the 500s back, but that doesn't leave as big a gap. So let's take out 2 bottles. This is where we juggle. So let's make it 2 bottles at the end as an extra stopper. Shuffle these over to be flowy with 2 bottles. That's probably 1 too many. And then, yeah, this one now fits well more than 2 bottles. So 2 bottles there. Okay, so some of them are a little bit more gap resistant than the rest, but I have 2 bottles in the back of those. I say when I make some of these, and some of them probably double with some white, I will pack them what's nice for them to stand upright. But for now, I think that'll do. So now I want to move my 600s back over. 600s. I'm doing a lot of jiggery pokery backwards and forwards. I'm going to put 2 bottles in the back. And let's move some 700s over. Sorry, I think the door's going, if you can hear Luna. So some 700s over. 2 bottles in there. I'll move them from the front. And this is where it gets trickier because of trying to keep the numbers in the same box. Because that one is definitely more stand uprighty than this one. And I've still got my 800s to bring over. So 800s, let's try splitting them. No, that's not going to like it. Let's do the 800s this way. So we may not end up with 2 bottles at the back of these 800s. But I'm going to see how it works. Ugh. Trying to get hold of the bags when they slide down can be entertaining. Okay, so I've not got 2 bottles in the back of that one, but let's see how we go now. With 900s, let's put 2 bottles in the back. And this is one of the things I did before I moved over. When I moved into separate boxes for my diamonds, and I originally had my squares in 3 boxes but with loads of wiggle room, I put bottles in the back. It's obviously not lasted that long, and then it's got to the point where it's got too full. So 900s, these are all still 900s. Move those over. 900s, put 2 bottles in the back. 3,000, oh, these are all 3,000s. Okay, that's still got loads and loads of room, so we're going to move the 3 3s over and possibly the 3 6s. So 3 6s, there is not a lot at all. That is all there is for the 3 6s. 2 bottles in the back, loads of wiggle room. So really what stopped us having that there is if we'd moved the part of the 800s over, we'd be fine. we'd have loads of room. But if we move the 600s over into that one, it gets too squashed. So then this one is 3 7s. So I'm just going to scoot a few over. I haven't got the little dividers in this one. Oh, I've got some at the front here. Let me pinch those. 3 7s. I don't want to move too many over, but I do want them to stand up. 3 8s. 3 8s all used to be in one row, and that is definitely a number that I don't know if you guys have noticed it, but I definitely have. That is appearing a lot more and more in paintings. It's like, I find like it's the 3 8s that I'm really filling up on all of them. Okay, and then we'll call that one the 3 8s, which has got more room. So let's get these bottles in. So just to hold it up a bit until I can get myself something a little bit nicer. But they're definitely more spread out now. De-kitting will be over 4 boxes, but will be easier. What I also need to do, or want to do today, albeit I think I'm just going to do it by writing on card, and I can't get these out, is to update my labels. And these do not want to come out. So let's measure how big these sort of need to be. So 2.5 inches might be better. Now I do flip between centimetres and inches depending on which is a nice round number. So 2.5 inches by 1.25 inches. And what I thought I'd use is, do you remember I had these pieces of card that I had the stickers on for the numbers for my Heaven and Earth design? I thought I will use those. Where's my trimmer? I know I've had a trimmer in here. Oh, here it is. And in fact, this is a trimmer that only has inches on it, so that works. So what did I say? 1.25. No, because that's not going to be the right length. So 1.25 by, what did I say across? 2.5. 2.5. So I'm reusing these and I'm going to pop them into the front of my photo boxes, and they are actually too long. They hit the bottom. So if I try doing them, I did do them at 1.25. Yeah, I did. So I'll do them at 1 inch instead. Okay, that fits perfect in the front of the box. Maybe I'll use my Dymo label. So, is that 1 inch? Oh, yes, I can get 2 out of a piece of card. Even better. So, 2.5. I wasn't going to use my Dymo, but I actually think my Dymo will be better. The last labels, Megan did them on the computer for me and laminated them, but she's at work. So we will find a way to do it ourselves for now. In fact, let's do it at 2 inches and then do it 1 inch, because that's a neater cut. Push these in the front. And of course, my memory card saved. And then I'm also going to do 4 more, which are going to be for my other boxes. So I want to label up my rounds, and I want to label up my giveaway ones. I do have a label already on my special diamonds, and seeing as that hasn't changed boxes, that can stay as is. But the one that was labelled as my Heaven and Earth design does need to change because it's no longer Heaven and Earth design diamonds. And then when I get a chance, I will pretty up or get Megan to print me some pretty labels. But let's see if my Dymo label is going to play the game. So ideally, I do want to have it to say square as well, but I can never judge how much tape I have with Dusty. I've currently got a clear tape in there. Oh, I think I might have enough actually. But let's do the numbers first, because then I can set it to numbers. So 100, and then this is the bit I don't like on this one, is adding in a symbol. 100, and then I want to come off numbers, and I want to go to lowercase letters to put an S. Then I want to insert another symbol, but I have to go back to the symbol I had before. And then I have to go back to numbers. So 100s to 500s. Insert symbol. At least I won't have to do this part actually again. I can just change the numbers. So I've got it saying, I'm not sure if you can even see that, so let me print it. This says 100s to 500s. And I have cleaned the lens on my Dymo, but it still sometimes can't decide. So that says 100s to 500s, which I've got in there. But then I can just go down and tell it to change that to a 6. So we've got 600s to 800s. So change that one to an 8. And I'm waiting for it to print. It feels like it takes forever. Okay, then I've got 900s to 36. So 36,000s. And I'm going to try and do all my numbers first, so I will have to pull out my round boxes to check where I'm up to. And it does say battery low, but this thing says battery low. It's been saying it for 6 months to a year. 3,700s to 3,800s. Yes. It's actually to 5,200s if we're getting technical, because I do have my 5,200s at the back of there. However, my brain works better with that. So there's my numbers for these boxes. I am going to put a lid on before I test actually putting these labels on the boxes, because this could get messy. So I want to sort of tip it up. In fact, I'm trying to work out what's the best way that you guys can still see it. There we go. Let's use the back wall. So 3,700s to 3,800s. Let's see how this is. Oh, it still fits in. That's good. Because I didn't want to stick them on before I put them in, because you never know how much of it is going to get hidden underneath. I am tucking this underneath. Do I? Yeah, because I think I want it to say square. above it. So I wanted to say squares and then 3,700 to 3,800. So I'm tucking it a little bit down. Well, that didn't work, it moved. Oh, the whole thing moved. There we go. I will need to get Megan to print me some. So that's across the bottom. It wiggles. This one hasn't got a label in it already, but it's tucked in there so I can put squares across the top. And then this one, if I move this forward so that I can use it as a prop, this one is 9,000s to 3,600s. This one fits in a little bit better. Doesn't move around quite as much. Then my next box, which is my 6 to my 8s. And this is really handy depending on where a painting starts with numbers, to make sure I'm grabbing the correct box. And also, of course, when I'm looking for a diamond, it's much easier to have them labelled. And I've not had my rounds labelled since I split the boxes up, so I find it really, really handy that I can now have them labelled, albeit not as pretty as the labels I had before, but still labelled. So now for my rounds, this is my second box. Now my rounds are split differently. They are split partway through the 800s. So I actually don't need the apostrophe S on this first one, but I will do on the second one. Okay. So it is 830. I want numbers. 830 to 3/8,000s. Say, may not make sense to everybody else. I could have just put to 5/200. But I've basically put 830 to 3/800s to the end blocks for this one. Because as I say, it does make sense to me to in effect ignore the 5/200. I've actually had the 5/200 in the front of the box as well as in the back of the box, because the DMC number is B5200. So I've actually put it in a few different places. Anyway, that's waffling about numbers. So let's put 830 to 3/800s. And then for this one, we'll do the opposite. So I'm actually going to delete all of that row. I'm going to change my 3/800s to say 100s. And then insert the dash back in. Oh, and then say it's 2/829. Am I on numbers? I am. 829. Let's pop in another piece of card. So 100s to 829. I could just put 150 to 829. It may have looked a little bit neater. If I do find that I prefer to do it that way, if and when I get Megan to make me some labels, I'll do it then. Okay, so I don't need that apostrophe S anymore. So, do I want round in capitals? Yes, let's make it in capitals. So, round, round. So I'm going to print one, pop it on, check I like it, and then print my second one for my other box. But this just says round. and it's now playing up with me. Can't get them off because I'm on camera. Okay, there we go. Round. Benefit with the clear one is I can sort of overlap it a little bit if I want to. So that one says round 100 to 829. And that can go back on my shelf. In fact, that can go a shelf up. I have 2 rows of 3 boxes for these. So I'm actually putting 1 round on the top and 1 round on the bottom, and then I'm going to do the same with the squares, but I'm going to put 2 on the top and 2 on the bottom and keep the squares closest to my filming desk because that is the one that I de-kit the most. So there's my second box of round, and then let's make a label for square. Q. I wish this was a keyboard. I think I'd have a better way of being able to do it if this was QWERTY. Yeah, QWERTY. If it was like a QWERTY keyboard, I would have a much better chance of knowing where the letters are than if it just does it in an alphabet. I have to think too much when it's an alphabet. Okay, so that is my labels for now. Square 100s to 500s. Then we've got 600s to 800s. In fact, let's get it printing another one of those so I don't have to wait. Be nice to have all these labelled up. Box number 2 of squares. No, I was trying to think then, as I'm putting it on the shelf, I'm going, do I go 1, 2, 3, 4, or do I go 1, 2, 3, 4? Let me know in the comments, which way would you do it? Which way, if you're putting 4 boxes in a grid, which order would you use? I have ended up going 1, 2, and then 3, 4. So first 2 boxes are on the top shelf. Second 2 boxes are on the next shelf. But when I get round to de-kitting, my next one will be when I truly know if that works for me or not. I'm actually enjoying having the box to rest it on. It's working quite well to line up my labels. And then I have 2 more labels to do. So there's my next square, my last square, should I say. And then I need to do my lovely sun bleached box, but at least it looks one colour on the front, and actually the sun bleach pink is nicer. Okay, so what should we call this one? Extra spares? Extra spares. Now I do have round in some boxes, in one box, and I have rounds and squares in a second box. But I don't think I need to reference that much. Let me just check this is going to fit. Yes, though I may have to chop a little bit off. So let me just check before I print my second one. Because when you're buying the actual Dymo tape, it's often a pretty penny. It does work. I just need to tuck it in and potentially put it on straight. Oh no, there we go. At least it wiggles around in here so I can make it straight. But these were my original Pretty. See, gorgeous lettering. Megan did it to fit really, really nicely on there. So I may get her to redo me some extra pretty labels. But these definitely do in the meantime. They allow me to at least know where everything is, which at the end of the day is the main thing. I need to get another short bookmark. I'm going to throw those just in the top of my first few boxes in a moment because I forgot to put those back in. But there we go. Extra spares. Tuck it in the side of there. Job's a good in. So all my photo boxes are labelled and more organised than they were before. If you can believe, I have space to breathe with these boxes. Even if I have added another one to my collection, I do still have space on the shelf. So I don't feel like I'm suffocating in boxes in this craft room. But yeah, stay tuned for my craft room tour, which will be coming up soon. And you'll be able to see these in place where I sort of store them along with all my other crafting goodies. But yeah, thank you for joining me for this little mini series where I got my spares boxes spring cleaned. I don't think I spring cleaned hugely when I made them pretty a couple of years ago and brought in our labels. But other than that, I won't have sort of given my spares a full-on revamp for like 5 years. So don't think this is something that you have to do to your spares often. It really isn't. It very much depends on how much you diamond paint, how often you're dekitting. And this will now last me a good few years before I need to think about doing it again. But thank you so much for watching me during this journey, and I'll speak to you all again soon.